What's up, people? I'm Ethan.
And I'm Court.
And in today's video, we are doing do's and don'ts for an interracial relationship or interracial couple. Let's just get right into it.
So we have 5 do's and
5 don'ts.
So here's the first do.
Number 1, really navigate, talk through, or work through issues. Examples. Obviously, in this day and age, there's a lot of hot topics and all this other stuff when it comes to race or people's relationships, stuff like that. Being in an interracial relationship is kind of more, I wouldn't say is more difficult, but it can be difficult. And when it comes to navigating issues, you guys gotta really sit down and be on the same page.
Well, it can get a little trickier when you're talking about things. So
yes.
It's sometimes you're not going to be on the same page, and you have to kind of understand and be okay with that and agree to disagree, but figure out a way to live with each other, to communicate with each other, and not turn it into a screaming match of I'm right and you're wrong and you're going to see it my way and no way else.
Court and I are constantly working through issues that come up or that get brought to our attention, stuff like that. So y'all gotta be able to work through those issues. Number 2, holiday problems. So I broke it down like this. What if issues with family? Like what if issues with family? Bringing them over, like if you want to bring your significant over, or they're not fond of your spouse. So either one of those fall under that.
Or you're not fond of their family or something
Yes.
like that.
If y'all been following our channel, we've been very open and very cut and dry with our relationship. Obviously, we didn't always have the best relationship, like with family. It got better through time, but it's still, even with our situation, it was still sometimes rocky at some points.
Well, it's just important to talk about it before, like the day before it happens. And I always tell Ethan, because Ethan is a very spur of the moment person and I am such a planner, that we have to kind of meet in the middle. And if something is happening with his family, he needs to let me know more than a couple days ahead of time, because the way my family works too is they're very plan oriented, and we're all coming in from different states now, so it adds a different element to all of those things too, or they're coming here. And so making sure that you communicate and that, like, I know or he knows, hey, my family's gonna come out here, or hey, my family's having Christmas on this day. So that way you know ahead of time. And you can sometimes then, because even, like, let's just say if I didn't want to go to his family's for Christmas, but I still obviously want to be there because it's his family and he wants me to be with him, I mean, you can kind of mentally prepare for it, right? And then you can make plans like, hey, we're only going to stay there for a couple hours and then we're leaving. I'm not going to be there all day. Whatever it may be, to compromise and work through things.
Number 3, always say and find the root of the issue. Again, in this day and age, people are getting more sensitive than ever. When it comes to the dynamic of a relationship, it's even more sensitive because you don't want to offend the other person, or you did something that the other person took offense to, and or the parents found offense to whatever that person said, but you're just trying to be funny, this and that. So if that ever arises, and let's say your spouse or your person, significant other, is giving you a cold shoulder, all this other stuff, don't do that. Don't do that. So what you do, you talk with them and say, yo, what is the real issue behind why you're mad? Or what is the real issue behind why you don't want to do A, B, and C? Stuff like that. Because that's going to save you guys a whole lot of time, and y'all going to respect each other a lot more. But don't let it boil up, all right? Number 4, the hardest thing to say is usually worth saying. So say it.
Especially with people that maybe, like, your family doesn't like your significant other. If it is truly because of their skin color or their cultural background, whatever it might be, their ethnic background, standing up for them could be the hardest thing, because you truly love your family and they truly love you, but you love your significant other more. Whether that be it's going to be your husband or your wife, or you're already husband and wife, it may be the hardest thing you've ever had to do. But I mean, at the end of the day, like we always say, my parents have always said too, is your husband, your wife, that's your family now.
Yep.
And that's who you're going to be with, like, I know it's kind of sad to say, but eventually your family will pass away or move away or whatever, or you'll move away and have your own little family. And that's, like, it's me and him now. You know what I mean? Like, my family and his family are still a part of our lives, but at the end of the day, it's me and him. He's with me every day. I go to sleep with him every day. We eat, whatever. you're going to grow together and eventually live until you die.
5, the last one. This one's pretty, it's not too deep. Trust yourselves. That's what I would say. Always trust yourselves. Now, if the relationship ain't going nowhere, then it is what it is. Still, trust yourselves. Trust yourself to break it off. But I would say in our relationship, I've always trusted my gut, and when it came to her, and it always worked out. Look, it worked out. I mean, we weren't always, I'm telling you, we weren't always on the same page. We weren't always, she had some growing to do. I had some growing to do. Don't look at me like that.
You more than
Don't
me.
You do it. Don't you really want to do this right now? You really want to do this right now?
You guys come on.
No.
Our love story.
Do you really want to do this?
To find
All
out.
right. Like I said, she had some growing to do when it came to not always being a people pleaser, this and that,
Well, yes.
which I feel like a lot of us struggle with. And I had some growing up to do with, being one with nature.
Girls, you know. That is a lie. Oh, God.
But ultimately,
Make it so you're climbing mountains or something.
ultimately, always trust your guys' selves and trust your gut when it comes to your partner. Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right. Glad we're on the same page with that. Now we got the 5 don'ts. Number 1 of the don'ts. Repeat, don'ts. Don't compare yourselves to other interracial couples. I see this all the time when it comes to us and other people looking on the outside in, looking at us, and they always, we want to be just like y'all. We strive to be like, you guys are couple goals or all that stuff. But again, they didn't see the 10, 11, 12,
14 years.
14 years leading up to where we are in our life now. Please don't compare yourselves to other interracial couples. Use them. You can use them as a guide, like as far as like, you can pick little things from each couple that you like and be like, I would really want that in our relationship. But don't compare yourself like, their relationship's working. They look happy right now.
Or they have X,
But
Y,
why
Z,
am I not happy right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Number 2 of the don'ts. Don't get caught in the social media hype. So she didn't even know this was on the list.
I didn't know it was on the list.
But again, I see this happen so often, and it really boils my blood because everything you see, we all know, everything you see on social media is not real most of the time. Especially when it comes to, you see people happy all the time. You see people, oh my gosh, I'm living my best life, blah, blah.
It's not everything. It's not all of their life. Like even my personal social media, I'm not going to put every little thing. Like if we're having an argument, I'm not putting that on social media because that's our personal business.
Yeah.
Like even when we're at family functions, we're not about to have an argument in the middle of the family function. Like that's just not how we roll. There's certain things that we believe should be private in our relationship. It's just like anybody else on social media. They're going to share the parts of their relationships that they want to share, that they want you guys to see.
The ups.
And a lot of people that have really big accounts, well, I would say some, not a lot of, but a lot of them, some of them are not even real relationships. They're purely for the likes, the money, the whatever. So you have to be careful with who you look up to, who you admire, who you're comparing yourself to. And really, we should never be comparing ourselves to anybody. But it's really hard to do that this day and age. Yeah. Because, like, I've seen people, like, couples on social media, and I'm like, dang, why aren't we doing this, this, and this?
Or why aren't we here?
Yeah. So it gets really hard, and sometimes, honestly, I delete or I unfollow certain accounts so that I'm not seeing it all the time to prevent those things because everybody's at a different stage in life, no matter if you're the same age or they're older, they're younger. You never know what's going on in their life, and just because they look happy and everything all the time, super in love, they're going on these lavish dates, doesn't mean that's actually what's going on in their life.
Stay away from social media people, the relationships on social. Don't try to mimic that. Don't do it. Trust me. Your guy's it's gonna be way worse than positive. Okay? Number 3, don't assume that particular race is what you see in the media. My examples are this. Don't assume every black person or African American that you see is like on the same political scale that are for the same, like, let's say BLM, let's say everything you see in the media, don't assume that when you meet somebody that's, they always need the hippity hop, you know? Don't assume
Don't stereotype them.
Because you might look stupid. I mean, people are different. Like, don't assume every age, like Japanese person, is into manga or manja.
Anime?
Anime and all this other stuff. Because you may, overstep your hands.
Well, and I would say too, don't assume on the flip side of that, like if you had a black guy that's very typical things that would be like conservative views, don't assume that they're conservative.
Yeah.
Things like that, it's just basic assumptions that people have constantly. Like, they make them about him, about me. I know, like, one that's, whatever, surface level. Like, people always assumed growing up that I was super good at math because I'm Asian. I'm horrible at math. So, I just, I remember all throughout, like, middle school and high school, kids would, in my class, be like, well, you know how to solve this. And I'm like, why would I know how to solve it? I'm as lost as you are.
Wait, you ain't good at math?
No, I'm horrible at math. Our kids are screwed with it when it comes to math because he's horrible at it too.
I'm not.
But
geometry is my. I'm
good at some, but most I'm not. Anyway.
I'm not good at math at all.
But yeah, it's just things like that can be, one, hurtful to people, but two, it immediately kind of like tarnishes your relationship just a tiny bit off the jump.
Yeah. Because if you meet me in person, I mean, what you see right now is what you get. But the way I think and how I view things wouldn't be like a typical black person. Growing up, that's what I got a lot. They always said, you talk, just because I talk very intellectually, clearly to being white. Like, you're whitewashed.
You didn't use a lot of like slang, I guess.
I didn't use a lot of slang, but I enunciated my words. I made sure I didn't like say finna or I'm getting or what's up, cuz, blood, stuff like that. I didn't do that.
Why are you doing that?
But
you do say certain things around certain people.
I do say, around it comes out.
When you're around your boys. Yeah.
Sue me, it comes out. But
you got
don't assume just because I'm black, I'm into young boy, NBA young boy. Just don't do it.
Then he was labeled as like whitewashed because of that. And I mean, like,
they call me Oreo.
Yeah, even like I think of again
coconut.
Okay, his sister, and they look very similar. And she listens to country music, so then they would say she's whitewashed. It's just
she's a reverse Oreo.
Yeah, it's just stupid things like that.
So don't do that with your partner. So whatever ethnicity you are, just don't assume the other person just because they're white or Indian or
that
German,
they fit in a box.
German, that they're going to be what you think. Okay? Sorry to go on a tangent, but they have to be said. Number 4, don't willingly fall into the stereotypes. Meaning, let's say, okay, for example, for Latinas, right? Mexican girls. They're always known for being that spicy, like, feisty, spicy, caliente, like, hey, don't mess with her. Don't do it. She a little sharp. She's a little snapper, right? But, again, if you're not that person, like,
don't feel like you have to
don't feel like you have to act like that type of, even though you are a Latino or Latino, don't feel like you have to act like that in order
to be that,
to feel, some type of way with your spouse or whatever. Like if your spouse is like expecting that or whatever, don't try to feel the need you have to act like what the stereotype of your race is to please or to feel enough.
Because I think a lot of people these days, at least I feel like I hear it more often. Like I like black guys. I like Asian girls. I like Mexican girls. Whatever it might be. So then I think that some people get in a relationship or they start dating somebody and they know, like, let's just say it's him and he likes Asian girls and then I'm Asian. So I feel like, oh, he told me he really only likes Asian girls. I really need to be Asian. like the stereotype.
Mm-hmm. Let me put the hair in a bun. Asian. Let me just dress in a kimono, whatever. It's a kimono.
So that's kind of, I feel like, what he means.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Number 5. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is pretty self-explanatory. Don't shove beliefs down each other's throat, and please don't gaslight each other. Okay?
Yeah, don't be a stereotypical certain race and then turn into your actual self later. I mean, that could go for anybody. You don't have to be a specific race or anything.
Yeah. Please don't do the gaslighting to the other person. So that was the 5 do's and don'ts of our video. And like I said, we hope this was very valuable for you guys, especially for the younger generation coming up, because I know you guys are going through a lot. You guys see a lot of social media. You guys see a lot of different things that definitely influence your mentality when it comes to like people. It's not just for us. Like, we're just giving you guys our personal opinions. We're talking about what we've been through personally and how we overcome those things. Let us know which one you guys like the most. Put it in the comments below. But like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Court.
And we are out of here.